Just a reminder about our new giveaway. We're giving away the new iPad Pro or the new iMac Pro. The choice is yours. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple.
When you're playing a major sport, regardless of what it is, there are rules that you absolutely have to follow. If you don't, you're going to have to pay the price. Sometimes it's as simple as an ejection, other times you'll be forced to pay a fine. And then there are times when the rule breaking is so bad that you get punished by getting suspended from the game. And in the NBA, there have been a lot of big suspensions over the years, so we'll allow us to show you the longest player suspensions in NBA history. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 10. Hedo Turkoglu. We're going to start off on this list with a trio of violations that all ended up with players getting 20-game suspensions, and we start ourselves off with Hedo Turkoglu. You might remember this European player as not just a dominant three-point shooting threat, but one of the guys who led the Orlando Magic to the NBA Finals alongside Dwight Howard. They may have lost, but his three-pointers did indeed help to get them there. So why was the man suspended? That would be very simple. He tested positive for methanolone, an anabolic steroid. Turkoglu took full responsibility for his actions and said that he took the drug as prescribed by a doctor in Turkey to help him recover from a shoulder injury. He claimed that he failed to check it against illicit substances banned by the NBA. After his suspension, Turkoglu went on to play 2 seasons with the Los Angeles Clippers before retiring. So unlike various other NBA players, he honestly did admit to what he did and even gave a logical reason for what happened. This doesn't excuse him doing it per se, but at least he owned up to it. And since this was his only violation, unlike some others, we sympathize. Number 9. Nick Calathes. This story is a bit more sad and ironic than Hedo Turkoglu's. Nick Calathes is a star point guard of the EuroLeague team Panathinaikos. Before he made the All-EuroLeague first team in back-to-back seasons in 2018 and 2019, he played for the Memphis Grizzlies for 2 seasons, which should be an indication of where this story is going to go. Just saying. In 2014, Calathes was suspended by the NBA for 20 games for violating the league's anti-drug policy. Calathes tested positive for tamoxifen, a banned substance that was found in a supplement he was taking. Calathes argued that he used the supplement for a legitimate medical condition, and because there were no traces of the PEDs in his system, the banned drug was of no advantage to him. Obviously, that did not fly with the NBA, and clearly the NBA didn't work well for Nick as he didn't last that long. Sure, he's a star in Europe, but we have a feeling he's not on the up and up there as he'd like you to believe. Number 8. Joakim Noah. Joakim Noah may not have the biggest and best of the NBA careers, but he has made his presence felt via his style of play. He's known for defensive presence, being able to trash talk with the best of them, and help teams win at times. His best run by far was when he was with the Derrick Rose Bulls that went to the playoffs multiple times. Yet, despite that skill, well, we're pretty sure you can guess what happened given the last 2 20-game suspensions. Noah was suspended for 20 games in 2017 after he tested positive for the over-the-counter supplement androgen receptor modulator LGD-4033, which is banned by the league. It was supposed to help him get better without causing side effects, because, well, that promise always works. As a result of that suspension, Noah forfeited $2 to $3 million of his salary that season from the Knicks, showing how buying just a simple supplement could cost you a lot more than you think. Number 7. Jody Meeks. There is a twist ending with this story that you might already know depending how in-depth you know your NBA teams. In 2018, guard Jody Meeks was suspended for 25 games after violating the NBA's anti-drug program. In fact, he tested positive for not 1, but 2 banned substances. Not cool. Just as not cool was what Meeks denied the claim and appealed the punishment. He lost, and Meeks served the suspension, which carried over to the 2018-2019 season. He was then traded to the Milwaukee Bucks and waived. He signed to play for the Toronto Raptors for the rest of the 2018-2019 season and was part of their 2019 NBA championship team. So, yeah, crime, I guess, does pay technically. We wouldn't recommend trying it for yourself, though. Number 6. Kermit Washington. The rules against fouling other players today is vastly different from previous decades, and this suspension proves it. It was in 1977 when Kermit Washington punched Rudy Tomjanovich with a punch so brutal it haunts people to this day because it was just, well, terrifying. His suspension for that vicious punch? 26 games. As for Rudy T, he missed the rest of the season after suffering a broken nose, broken jaw, and a cerebral concussion as a result of the punch. Tomjanovich was even leaking spinal fluid into his mouth. It goes down as one of the most brutal things to ever happen in the NBA, and if that happened today, it'd probably be an all-season suspension. Number 5, Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson was also involved in the infamous event known as the Malice at the Palace. More on that later though. Jackson was with the Indiana Pacers during the game and he came to the aid of Ron Artest. He went up to the stands and punched a fan. Not only was Jackson suspended for 30 games without pay, but he was also put on probation for 1 year, fined $250 plus community service, and ordered to attend anger management classes. It didn't take, and he got into even more trouble, which led to more suspensions. Some people, they just can't be helped. Number 4, Javaris Crittenton. Javaris Crittenton was suspended for 38 games, and he pleaded guilty to misdemeanor gun possession charges. Yep, you heard that right. He was sentenced to a 1 year of unsupervised probation and required to do community service. Crittenton was waived by the Wizards, and he was never able to play for another NBA team. Now that's not a shock if someone is willing to bring a firearm into a locker room. That's not cool, and it's probably for the best that he was taken out of the league. And that wouldn't be the only time this happened, for the record. Number 3, Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas was known as Agent Zero, and he was one of the biggest players in the Washington Wizards history, even signing a major contract with them after proving his skills. But then, in 2010, Arenas was suspended for storing an unlicensed but unloaded gun in his locker and drawing it on teammate Javaris Crittenton. Yep, the guy that we had just talked about. The suspension was for the rest of the season, but since Agent Zero had played 32 games already, the suspension lasted 50 games. When he came back, he honestly wasn't the same. He went from being Agent Zero to basically being worth zero, and that gun charge didn't help him seem like such a great guy. Number 2, Latrell Sprewell. Latrell Sprewell was one of the most fierce competitors during his time. He was both a scorer and a defender, something that many teams today would love to have for their squad. You'd think it would be an all aces for him throughout his career, but it wasn't. In 1997, Sprewell was criticized by head coach PJ Carlesimo during practice. Latrell went nuts, literally choking, threatening, and punching PJ. He was immediately suspended for 10 games, but 2 days later, the team terminated Sprewell's outright and threw in a suspension on top of that to make sure that he learned his lesson. Sprewell made an appeal and the sanction was reduced to just 68 games. Now, to be clear, he did come back to the NBA, but he was nowhere close to the player that was once feared on the court, and it's not hard to imagine why. Number 1, Ron Artest. Ron Artest is many things in the league, including being an NBA champion and arguably one of the craziest guys to ever don a uniform. Seriously, he's quite unstable at times and even changed his name to Meta World Peace, and he's actually still called that. But of course, the reason for his suspension was being a part of the Malice at the Palace, which started out as a fight between the players of the Pacers, whom Ron was a part of at that time, and the Detroit Pistons. But when a fan threw a drink at Artest, he went after them, and thus a fight between players and fans started, which led to Ron Artest punching those very fans without mercy. All told, players were suspended for a total of 142 games, but Artest got the worst of it, being suspended for the rest of the season, which included the playoffs, which meant he missed 86 games. After that incident, the NBA went and put in new rules to deter such an act from ever happening again. Ron Artest would obviously get back into the league and would win the title with the LA Lakers. So what did you think? What did you think of this look at the various suspensions the NBA has handed out over the years? Which one surprised you the most in terms of how big they were, or the reasons that they were handed down? Did any of these players surprise you in regards to how or how long they were suspended? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.